So we've been examining the family life teaching out of Doug Wilson's community, and I've been talking about a couple different themes, and one of them is this style of alpha dog parenting, an adversarial relationship between parent and child where parents must always win. So I'm going to stitch a clip here.
Many mothers think that the ideal mother is soft, emotional, tender, always petting their children's hair, etc., and really could use a real injection of just being an alpha dog with their children, especially with your sons. You should not let them dominate you.
I think this clip really provides a great example of the way somebody's opinions or thoughts on parenting are just presented as authoritative. So here, Rachel, this is Doug Wilson's daughter, and she does a lot of Canon Press's content on parenting. That's why we're seeing her so often. Their current streaming content is not even attempting to present this as a particularly Christian idea or anything. She's just going to sit down and tell you what you should do as a parent, full stop. And within the context of assumptions about Christian parenting teaching, this is really crucial because so many of these experts are sometimes speaking with the weight of God's voice, saying, we are telling you what God wants you to do. And other times they're maybe not offering that lead in, but they have claimed that position of authority and no disclaimers are given of this is maybe just my advice, or this has worked for my family, or this is how I prefer to approach parenting, or anything like that that would deflate every suggestion that comes out of their mouth from the realm of we're going to tell you the godly way to do it and the right way to do it.
If they are trying to be in charge, they need to clearly know they are not. They cannot just push mom around. You'll see like a woman standing there talking to someone with a little boy like pushing her, like shoving on her, yelling at her, going after it.
I find it kind of interesting that the footage they chose to grab there is actually not a child pushing or shoving a parent, but it's a child who looks like is melting down. But in any case, they're presenting this as an either or scenario. Like either you have a young child who is maybe being aggressive toward a parent, or the parent needs to be the alpha dog. And it makes me wonder, are those the only two options? Are we receiving a straw man fallacy here as reason for this alpha dog parenting philosophy?
This is a moment where you need to see, like, you have to have the authority to say, look in my eyes, I said no. Like, don't do that. You may not do this. Now, part of that is like that example would be one of those things that I'm like, just all you need to do is fast forward this and imagine this behavior unchecked as a 16-year-old.
So I had to laugh a little bit here at the graffiti as the worst case scenario of how this could play out. A couple things though. What we've gotten here is kind of some low-level fear-mongering with vague scenarios. So it's a reverse of the prosperity gospel promises. So instead of saying, do this and you'll have the good outcome, it's saying, if you don't do this, you're going to have an imagined worst-case scenario outcome. And I don't think experts need to give specific details, but here we have a lot of vague details. What is being communicated to parents is if you let your toddler push you around, this is paired with an image of a child throwing a tantrum. And if you don't respond with alpha dog kind of authority, that's the framing they've chosen, the vocabulary they've chosen, you are going to end up with a teenager who is engaged in criminal behavior. And I think here we kind of see both of these themes we've been looking at mesh together. This kind of adversarial relationship with parent and child, also with this idea of covenant household, that a parent can ensure a specific outcome and it will look like a specific behavior. Because either way you cut it, it's saying the parent is in charge of this outcome in a child. Again, it's erasing the child, and especially as a teenager, their agency completely. If they're on a good path as defined from the community, well, that's not because of choices the child has made. It's because the parents were alpha dogs. And if they're on a bad path as defined by the community, again, that's not a choice that the child had made. It's because the parents failed to operate as alpha dogs. So it really muddies the lines between family culture, parental influence, as well as agency of young people and children.
I hope that you see how terrible that would be. Win it now. Like, your authority, you having authority in the home, is not you grasping after something you have no right to. It's not thinking too highly of yourself. It is a gift to your children for you to maintain your authority in the home.
The win it now phrasing is really telling, because I think in one sense, a lot of Christian parenting content and other parenting content takes an authoritarian or authoritative approach that would say parents need to operate in authoritative ways. And I leave it up to the viewer to determine whether that equals win it now, like win every power struggle now. Is that the way we would define healthy authority if we're looking at healthy authoritative models? Are these power struggles to be won or to dominate? And I do think they are choosing this language specifically. Alpha Dog does communicate quite a bit, even just in titling the clip this way.